After two rivalry wins over UCLA and Notre Dame, Lincoln Riley and the USC Trojans are closing the gap to reach the college football playoffs.
Demonstrations break out across China in protest of the country's COVID lockdown policies. We speak to an expert about what makes this protest different.
And one of the world's largest volcanoes has erupted after being dormant for more than 4 decades.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Williams keeps it. First down. Touchdown. That's a hat trick of rushing touchdowns for Williams.
After 2 rivalry wins, Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans are proving they're among the best of college football. Hi, I'm Jeffrey Lee.
I'm Bailey Harrison. We are here with Annenberg Media sports anchor Dylan Brazier to tell us more about USC's college football playoff possibilities.
Thanks, Bailey. While surpassing everyone's expectations this year, the USC football team is just 1 game away from their first college football playoff appearance. The only thing in the way is the Pac-12 championship, and here's what Coach Riley said about this week's upcoming matchup.
We're excited to be in that game. It's a ring game. Those are hard to get to, and they're fun. I've had a chance to be in a couple of them. They're a lot of fun. I'm glad our team gets our shot. So whoever it is, we know it's going to be, obviously, so whoever qualifies for it's pretty darn good too, right? Like they got there too. So we'll get ready to go play a big game.
Thank you. Are playing their best football right now. First, they had a thrilling win over their crosstown rivals, 48-45, and kept up that momentum against Notre Dame, winning 38-27. Annenberg's director of sports media and society weighed in with his predictions for the playoffs.
Obviously, Georgia, Michigan, and TCU, assuming that they all win out, they're going to be your top 3. Right now, looking at it, and looking at the last 3 years of each program, I'd have to give the nod to OSU, Ohio State, over USC as being the more, the stronger candidate to be successful in the postseason.
Per the latest AP poll, USC is number 4 in the nation for the first time since 2017. Of course, we have the expected Georgia at 1 and Michigan at 2. TCU is at 3, but they take on a tough Kansas State team this weekend, and there could be an upset. Ohio State and Alabama take 5 and 6, and they'll wait to find out their playoff hopes. They'll wait to find out if their playoff hopes are alive after championship weekend. Later in sports, Michael and I will break down this Friday's Pac-12 championship game against Utah.
Thanks, Dylan. Provost Charles Zukowski will be stepping down at the end of the year. USC President Carol Folt made the announcement right before the Thanksgiving break. The former Viterbi professor will return to his roots as a full-time teacher and researcher. Folt praised him for his dedication and service to USC, their faculty, staff, students, and communities. She also said he has played a significant role in helping the university navigate both major challenges and opportunities over the last 3 years. Zukowski was instrumental in the university's transition to and from online learning during the pandemic. Executive Vice Provost Elizabeth Grady will step in as interim provost. No timeline is set for finding a replacement.
It's once again that time of year for holiday shopping, but this year shoppers are looking for good deals as many struggle to deal with inflation. According to Adobe Analytics, Americans spent more than $9 billion this Black Friday. Experts say shoppers will spend 6 to 8% more than last year. On holiday shopping, most of that increase is due to higher prices.
People actually saved up a great deal of money during the pandemic. In highly inflationary economies, people often try to get ahead of inflation, and they try to shop as fast as they can.
Now, as we roll into 2023, what economists are anticipating is that if we're not able to get the inflation rate demonstrably under control, that's when you're going to start to see a recession.
Inflation doesn't seem to be holding shoppers back. Cyber Monday sales are expected to reach a whopping $11.6 billion. Analysts say this increase will largely be due to consumers paying more for less, and they're becoming more selective about what they buy.
It's hard because everything I feel like prices are up due to the inflation in the economy, so it's hard. I think everyone's struggling a little bit with that.
I definitely noticed that the Black Friday sales are now just it's $100 for this top, and it's like, that's the sale? Like, what? And it's like, no, but originally it's $300. I'm like, why? It's a shirt. $300. Like, y'all are crazy.
Data from Adobe Analytics shows more shoppers are buying on credit and those using, quote, buy now, pay later plans. Multiple contenders for the 2024 election cycle have made statements on their bid for presidential candidacy. Political anchor Christina Liu is here now with more.
That's right, Bailey. California Governor Gavin Newsom and rapper Kanye West are two names that have made headlines this weekend alongside frontrunners President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. Governor Newsom said he will not be running for president in 2024, even if President Biden does not run for re-election. Newsom said he hopes Biden does run for a second term and that, quote, he not only beat Trump once, I think he can beat him again.
Mr. President, how are your 2024 conversations going?
Not happening. We're celebrating.
Former President Donald Trump is hoping to get his old job back, but new polls show Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is closing the gap. DeSantis hasn't officially announced his candidacy for president, but Elon Musk has already expressed his support. Meanwhile, Trump hosted rapper Kanye West and white supremacist Nick Fuentes in Mar-a-Lago last week. The former president is receiving widespread backlash from the Biden administration as well as GOP leaders for the controversial dinner. We spoke to a White House columnist for The Hill for more on the presidential hopefuls and the implications this Mar-a-Lago meeting could have.
In relation to both Kanye West and Nick Fuentes, they have both made clearly and unarguably anti-Semitic statements. A president of the United States, past or present, should not, in most people's estimation, be having dinner with anti-Semites. The question of what political penalty Trump incurs as a result is a more complicated question. He is the front runner, but I don't think it's going to be some easy coronation. Clearly, if Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, gets in, he would be a very serious rival to Trump.
On the Democratic side, President Biden is expected to run for re-election, but a firm decision is expected early next year. It's looking like this is going to be another interesting election cycle. Bailey, Jeffrey, back to you.
Thanks, Christina. Rare protests are spreading across China to challenge the government's strict zero-COVID policy restrictions. It's a show of resistance that the Communist Party has not seen in decades.
It's always been okay to criticize at the local level. What happens is when you get up to the Politburo level, when you get up to the rulers sitting in Beijing, and particularly to Xi, that's what's new. And that's what's not been tolerated before.
An apartment fire in the northwestern city of Urumqi killed 10 and sparked protests. Some blame the COVID rules for blocking roads and doors, preventing firefighters from quickly getting to the scene. A China resident describes the toll of the lockdowns.
I am a victim. Right? I cannot go home for many years, like 2 to 3 years, right? My parents were locked down for 3 months. Everyone who has a sane mind should say something or do something to stop this unreasonable social measure.
A candlelight vigil will be held tomorrow in the USC Village at 7 p.m. to mourn those who died in China because of the zero COVID policy. Students and staff are encouraged to come together to pay their respects.
People are beginning to feel the festive spirit as the holiday season is right upon us. We're tuning in to our reporter, Arath Latour, who is currently live in downtown for the LA County tree lighting ceremony. Arath, how's it looking out there?
Thank you, Bailey. Yes, it's looking beautiful. I'm here at the Jerry Moss Plaza, where people have come down to enjoy a wonderful celebration. In fact, the biggest celebration in the West Coast. After not being here 2 years, the people here are excited. This big tree behind me is going to get lit up soon, and the music is just awesome. It is cold, but I'm enjoying the night. This year, the Music Center is hosting the LA County Tree Lighting Ceremony. This is an event that welcomes everyone to celebrate the start of the holidays with friends and family. A 75-foot tall tree is dressed on its holiday finest to kick off the start of December. There's free hot chocolate, and festive favorites will be sung by men and women from Skid Row. County supervisors gave speeches, and they reminded everyone that This celebration is not only about celebrating the holiday, but about celebrating the community as well. Nobody's going anywhere here. I'm gonna enjoy some hot chocolate soon, and I'm just happy to be here. Reporting for Annenberg Media, Arad La Torre.
Thanks, Arad. Controversy is brewing between Iran and the United States ahead of their World Cup match tomorrow.
The Lakers will celebrate a legendary sportscaster and award 2 scholarships to USC students at their game tonight.
And see how a USC club is preparing students to perform daring stunts on the big screen.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write them a text or knit them a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write them a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Today marks the 3rd week of the UC strike, the largest strike of academic workers in U.S. history. Concerns are rising that the strike could cause lasting effects on the quality of education. Over the weekend, UCLA students received an email from the Dean of Life Sciences that some took as an attempt to intimidate strikers. In response, strikers taped a giant printout of that email on her door, along with a copy of an unfair practices complaint they filed with the state of California. We spoke to UCLA students about how these protests are affecting them.
I know a lot of my friends who rely heavily on TA office hours to succeed in their classes are very stressed about this. It's shown that TAs are absolutely essential to making classes run properly.
The loss of, I think discussion sections have noticed, I think from me and other peers that I've talked to, kind of a loss of that supplemental kind of aspect to a lot of classes.
The union wants pay raises, more affordable student housing, support for childcare and international students, transit incentives, research funding, improved leave for caregivers, and among the concessions, some pay raises for all student academic workers and up to 8 weeks of leave for some employees. Pressure on the UC administration is mounting, and at this rate, professors may be forced to grade final papers and exams all by themselves. 2 Annenberg students will be awarded the Chick Hearn Scholarship tonight during the Laker game halftime show.
And the Lakers have this ball game where they want it. It's in the refrigerator. And if you don't believe me, you take a look at your screen. It's in the refrigerator.
Legendary sportscaster Chick Hearn worked with the Lakers for over 40 years. The scholarship in his name was established to honor him in 2003. We spoke with one of last year's recipients about the award.
Halftime, we went down and met Chick Hearn's granddaughters, and then we're able to walk on the court, and we're honored in front of the entire arena, which was really cool. I think walking onto the court, and I remember seeing Floyd Mayweather right in the front seats, and I was like, whoa, my grandparents growing up listening to Chick Hearn, and then I get this award and scholarship in his name. That was just super cool to me because I think it meant a lot to them.
The scholarship is awarded every year to 2 Annenberg students interested in sports journalism and broadcasting. To be considered, students have to submit a resume, a statement about why they deserve the award, and a few samples of their sports journalism. The Lakers play the Indiana Pacers at 7:30 tonight. We'll find out who this year's scholarship winners are at halftime.
The United States and Iran face each other in the 2022 FIFA World Cup tomorrow, and controversy is already brewing between the two nations. Iran calls for the U.S. to be disqualified after the U.S. Soccer Federation displayed Iran's flag without the emblem of the Islamic Republic on their social media platforms. They did so in support of Iranian protesters, and we spoke to a professor of international communications about the potential consequences.
I would be shocked if they faced any consequences. The response calling for the U.S. being out was from a minor organization. It was not from the head of the state itself. FIFA's dumb. The head of it is dumb, but they're not that dumb as to try and react to that.
The U.S. will face Iran for the second time in a World Cup, this time playing for both their tournament lives. The game will start at 11 a.m. Pacific time. The last time these two teams met was in 1998. The U.S. is favored by just half a point. We spoke to USC students to hear what excites them the most about this year's World Cup.
I think seeing the small teams beat the big teams is incredibly exciting.
The Iranian team took a stand against what's going on in the country and didn't sing the national anthem.
I think all the upsets with the super great teams is really fun to watch. I like how Qatar's held its modest culture standards. I think that's pretty cool to see.
Unification of nations. Everyone comes together. It's always a good time.
The final game will be held on December 18th at 7 a.m. Many people are predicting Brazil will win its 6th World Cup.
Well, it looks like Black Friday shoppers are not the only ones that were active this weekend. A volcano that has long been dormant also became active. Our weather expert, Michaela Wegner, has the news.
Yes, Jeffrey, the Mauna Loa on Hawaii's Big Island is the world's largest active volcano, and it is erupting for the first time in nearly 40 years. It began spewing lava yesterday, ending its longest quiet period since scientists started tracking the volcano's activity in 1843. We're looking at the Mauna Loa's activity right here within the last 24 hours. You can see areas releasing steam from the intense heat. Typically, the heaviest volume will erupt first and then slow down in the next few days. The lava is expected to stay contained on the north side of the mountain. Luckily, the north slope is moderate. That means it is very unlikely that the lava will reach any residents. As of right now, there are no immediate signs of dangerous lava flows or earthquakes, but officials are asking everyone to be prepared to evacuate. Moving along from the Mauna Loa in Hawaii, let's see what temperatures are erupting here in Los Angeles. So once we're able to pull up the current conditions, I can show you that it's going to be nice and cool, not super chilly like we've seen in prior weeks. It's going to sit at around 60 degrees. However, we are going to see some colder temperatures as we head on into the rest of the week. Looking at the 5-day forecast, it looks like we're going to be ending off the semester with a bang. The week is going to start off pretty cloudy. We have 66 on Tuesday, and Wednesday is going to get a little bit more sun, but as you can see, the temperatures are still dropping to 64. Now prepare for some rain on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so make sure you aren't packing away those winter clothes just yet. Anyways, that was all I had for you today. Thank you for such a great semester. I hope your winter break and new year is sunny and bright. And my name is Michaela Wegner. Now snapping it off to Dylan and Michael with sports.
Thanks, Michaela. It's a football frenzy coming up on ATVN Sports. Word on the street is a certain bronze trophy is going to Caleb Williams. We'll tell you what that means. And it's a win in their in scenario on Friday for the Trojans. Can they avenge their one loss this year? Stay tuned to find out.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Welcome back to ATVN Sports. I'm Dylan Brazier.
And I'm Michael Fumafredo. Happy anniversary, Lincoln Riley. 1 year ago today, USC announced Riley would be head coach for the Trojan football team for 2022 and beyond. SC wanted a star coach after a 4-8 season. Look at what they gave the former Oklahoma play caller to come out west. But Riley's motive wasn't the private jet. He wanted to see the Coliseum rocking again. Here's what he said after the win.
It's fun seeing the Collie like that. That's sitting up there at that press conference, well, almost close to 12 months ago, and kind of just imagining that, and these guys have brought it to life. And I don't know how long it's been since it was like that. I haven't been here before, but man, it was electric in there. That's kind of what I remember watching as a young kid.
From 4-8 to potential playoff appearance in just 1 year, it's the greatest turnaround in college football history. You'll be telling your grandkids about where you were the day Lincoln Riley was hired. Dylan, where were you that day?
I remember that day like it was yesterday. I got the ESPN notification, texted my dad. It was fantastic.
Yeah, what a day that was. But the only person that might be able to overshadow Lincoln's arrival is Caleb Williams. His performance against Notre Dame made him the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. He struck the post for the first time. Here's what he said about that.
I honestly struck it because a bunch of my teammates were saying do it. I normally don't. After I score, I normally just kind of don't do anything. And so they told me to do it, and they kept saying it, so I just ended up doing it in the moment.
Well, Dylan, the winner isn't announced until December 10th, but it kind of just seems like a done deal at this point. What do you think?
Oh, I think extremely. It's his to lose at this point. Hendon Hooker injured, Blake Corum injured. C.J. Stroud had a bad game against Michigan. He's broke the record for touchdowns, 44 at USC in a single season. This is his trophy.
Yeah, I think you're downplaying what Caleb Williams has done so far this season. 44 touchdowns, three interceptions. He's the best player in college football right now, and I remember saying it after the Fresno State game that he was making these Heisman plays week in and week out. He just continues to amaze us, and I think USC gets their 7th Heisman Trophy from Caleb Williams in a few weeks from now.
It's going to be a good one. Wrapping up today's show, the Pac-12 championship is just 4 days away. USC gets their rematch against Utah, but let's take a look at the last time we played the Utes. In this heartbreaking loss, Caleb Williams and the receivers were firing on all cylinders, but Utah's powerful offense kept them in the game when it mattered most. And in the end, injuries, questionable reffing, and Utah tight end Dalton Kincaid tore up the Trojan defense, taking down the men of Troy in Salt Lake. That's the Trojans' only loss on the year, but they're exactly where they need to be against the Utes in Sin City with the playoffs on the line. Michael, some key players are back from injury, and hopefully they can get Dalton Kincaid under control. What's your score prediction?
I'm going to have to throw out 45-34. Look, last time the Trojans played the Utes, it lit a fire under them. That was 6 or 7 weeks ago now. Right now, they're playing their best football. It's going to be a lot of factors going into this game that'll help USC out as well. A lot more on the line for the Trojans. It's a neutral site this time around. Hopefully the officiating leans a little more towards USC, but at the end of the day, it's the best team on the field that's going to win the football game, and right now USC is that over Utah.
Hands down, USC is a better team right now. And, not to discredit Utah, they had a great game against Colorado in the last game, and that was good, but USC is a different breed. I say 48-31 in Las Vegas, take him down, number 4 in the playoffs. Let's get it.
Well, and if you're in that game, you might have to throw a little bit on the over that game because we're giving you the high-scoring predictions for that one. It sounds like it's going to be a shootout.
For sure.
Yep. Well, fingers crossed and fight on. That's all the time we have for ATVN Sports. Pleasure being here with you guys. I'm Michael Fumafredo.
And I'm Dylan Brazier.
Let's send it over to Bailey and Jeffrey for the rest of tonight's news.
Lávate las manos por 20 segundos como Elmo.
Hay algo especial acerca de este lugar. Se siente como un hogar, una sala debajo del cielo y los árboles. Rodeado de aire fresco y la naturaleza. Todo aquí para que lo disfrutemos y para que lo cuidemos. Tenemos la responsabilidad de cuidar de esta tierra que llamamos casa, de preservarla para las generaciones que vienen. Cada acción pequeña contribuye para un cambio mayor y cada uno de nosotros podemos hacer la diferencia. Hay algo especial acerca de este bosque. Es un lugar donde se hacen recuerdos y juntos podemos preservarla y protegerla.
Maya Marie Vinnett introduces us to someone who just might be the most unusual accounting student on the USC campus.
Andre Walker is studying to be an accountant.
I'm a business major because it is something I enjoy. I find like the work satisfying.
But the USC junior is not your typical Marshall School of Business student.
I'm minoring in dance and I am a performer, but my specialty is in fire. So I spin fire nunchucks and fire swords. And I wanted to pick up a dance minor because I want to be open to all forms of movement.
So he moved his way into being one of the co-presidents of the Trojan stunt team, a student organization training the next generation of stunt actors.
Trained stunt people are used to protect actors from getting hurt on set during potentially dangerous scenes. It's not your favorite actor, but rather a stunt person on set for everything from car crashes to potentially dangerous fight scenes.
We mostly teach SDA students who are getting ready to become actors who can move on camera or even stunt actors in the industry, to work in Hollywood, to do short films, to do feature films, to do TV series where they're able to do action, movement, fighting, and some dramatic elements.
Fighting is very intimate. When you're sparring with someone, you learn so much about the other person. It's a conversation as you're going back and forth and exchanging energies. It really is poetry in motion.
Trojan stunt team accepts new members year-round, but the sooner you join, the more prepared you'll be for the action film the team creates every semester. This team definitely brings a new meaning to Fight On. For ATVN, I'm Maya Marie Vinnett.
I think that's so cool because I didn't even know that was offered on campus.
That's right, yeah. I think that so many times that stunt performers are the underappreciated ones doing the most dangerous things in movies. So it's great that we're highlighting them and the next generation of those stunt performers. But thank you for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Jeffrey Lee.
And I'm Bailey Harrison. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg Media. Good night.